Hello everyone, this is Coffee, Kegs and Kriegspiel. My name is Peter the Elder, and this is my after action report from a recent battle, the Battle of Clontarf. So I hope you enjoy it. Now I will show you my Clontarf game, and I'll do it from the second hour, because why not? Okay, so here we are. This is the map of Dublin in Ireland, and the Battle of Clontarf was fought in 1014, and it was fought actually, historically, it was fought in this area. The whole battle was fought in this area here, but this one wasn't. So essentially, the Irish had three positions, three routes of march towards Dublin, and their objective was to besiege Dublin and/or defeat the Vikings within Dublin. So the Vikings were in Dublin under the command of Maelmorra, but the Irish were aware of a Viking relief force. They weren't exactly sure of the size of it, but they knew it was landing roughly about the same sort of time that they would be in the area. So they had two choices, routes of march. They could come in from the north and be on this beach early. They could come in from the south and be on this southern beach early, or they could come in from the west and avoid initial contact with the landing forces. They decided to come in from the west here. The reason being is if they had gone past the beach before the Vikings had landed, they would basically be between Dublin and a Viking force. That was the reason for coming in from the west. But anyway, they've made good progress. They're not too far away now from Dublin itself, and they're at the town of Kilmainham here. In good spirits. Now the Vikings had two choices. They could either land on Clontarf Beach, or they could land on Blackrock Beach, which is here in the south. Or they could split their group, because they had two commanders here. One was Sigurd, and the other, these are on their boat, is Brody, who Brody was actually in this game was the commander of the whole Viking force. As regards to the Irish leaders, we had Murchad. He was the overall commander of the Irish force, and then he had two nobles, Crulich and Domhnall. Domhnall was in charge of the Viking Irish Viking allies, and the rest of the force was Irish. So, what happened from here? Well, I can show you. No, that's the wrong one. My saved games. Right. Fourth hour. No, that's not the one. We're getting there, people. Fifth hour. This is it. All right. Okay. These were the dice and the pieces I was using. Obviously, you'll never know the system that I was using, what the Kriegspiel system I was using. That's the rules of Kriegspiel. But anyway, by the fifth hour, Murchad and Crulich had moved with the vanguard Irish forces to this ford and pushed the Viking contingent that was holding there away, and Domhnall was moving up with the Viking allies towards this northern ford here. At that point, the whole of the Viking relief force had landed and were beginning to make their way towards Dublin in support of Maelmorra and his garrison. And no real proper contact as of yet. Right. So we're on. Slow it down. Right, 6. The 6th hour. Okay, so you can see Sigurd and Brodir still making progress. They're on the hills on the north of the River Liffey, moving their Viking forces as quickly as they could. The Irish under Clontarf had pressed the Vikings, the Dublin Vikings, into this position, but I think it was a good thing to do to actually bring his whole force out onto the battlefield here, because actually it turned out that this area here was very important, and he also reinforced his position here on this northern ford. But yeah, he was definitely up against it for an hour or two here, Maelmorra. But did a good job coming out. Anyway, he stayed inside. And then the leader of the Irish, Murchad, ordered his force over the River Liffey at Kilmainham. The idea was to engage the Viking force on the flank in this kind of area here. And you can see these little markers here, these little shield markers. They're just, the shield markers show that they've lost their shields. I know it's a bizarre thing to put a shield on a piece that's lost its shield, but that is indeed the case. Their shields have been broken by the Irish javelins that have been thrown before the engagement. So the Irish were, I don't know, trading well with the troops, but they needed to get in and secure this bridge pretty quickly. And then that was 6. We move on to 7. All right, here we go. The reason why there's a lot of kind of color bands around these troops, where the players were found it quite difficult to know who their troops were on the battlefield due to the screenshots. I can imagine it was difficult to see, so that's why these coloured bands, so the players could actually see which troops were theirs. But anyway, so the battle for Dublin here. So the Clontarf was kind of pressing quite hard in this area. Now, almost pushing the Dublin garrison back up against the walls here. They had some men breaking in this position. So definitely down in the south, it looked like Clontarf was doing a good job of getting them back in to the city there. Domhnall, was having quite a lot of difficulty actually pushing across here, and this proved pivotal actually, because they were just very unlucky not to be able to push back the Vikings that were holding that ford quick enough, and that gave these Vikings the chance to cross that bridge unopposed and basically reinforce that position there. And then in the north, Murchad joins his group, and they start to turn towards the Viking force. It possibly would have been quicker for them to actually come down this road here, but that's Kriegspiel, I guess. That they decided to take this northern route and kind of hook around this forest. So it added a little bit of time to their movement, and I think this gave Brodir an opportunity to notice the movement and start to move his own forces to face off against this new Irish threat moving in on the flank. So we go to the next hour. how 8. All right, we go down in here. Okay, so the 8th hour. And this was like a calamity here for the Irish. Unfortunately, they were doing so well down here. They were pushing the Irish back, but there was a chain rout basically down here. Very unfortunate dice rolls, some very unfortunate combat results for the Irish. Just meant that their whole southern flank broke, and yeah, that was very, very unfortunate for them there. They had done a significant amount of damage to Maelmorra's men here, who kind of were back in Dublin recovering. But now this new Viking relief force was taking over the pressure from Maelmorra. Domhnall had pushed even further in, but now his kind of southern allies were basically fleeing the battlefield. He was kind of left in a very precarious position here. And then in the north, the battle lines were drawn. Merch had fixed himself to this southern flanking force here with his Hearthguard. These are the Fianna, they were called in the battle. And these were the elite, well-armoured Irish troops. And Brodier actually kept his Huskars at this point at the back of the battle. So this is where it really kind of turned for the Irish, and it was going to be pretty tough for the Irish anyway, because essentially the Irish had 5,000 men. This is historical records. The Irish had 5,000 men. The Vikings had 7,000 men. So not only were they attacking a defended position, but they were also attacking a defended position against a force that had 2,000 more men. And then they had this happen as well. So it was very unfortunate on the day that they didn't get a little bit of that luck they really needed to have any chance. Right, we go on to the next one, turn 9. Right, so you can already tell that everything's gradually going the Vikings' way. One saving grace for the Irish in the south was one of their Fianna, Hearthguard, was able to recover and at least hold the advancing Vikings in the south here to stop a complete destruction of that force, who then managed to get back into Kilmainham here and try to gain some recovery. As you can see, Dublin was chock-a-block with Vikings trying to recover themselves, but they were very happy now because the Vikings under Domhnall had been pushed back over the ford, and this was now a case of basically holding for as long as they could to allow for a successful retreat. It was just that up the top here, Murchad was not aware of what was happening in the south, and he was pressing the Vikings in the north here, and they were doing quite well here, to be honest. They were disrupting far more of the Vikings. They were causing shield damages. Both sides were breaking in various places, but the Irish were doing very well at this point, and done to be. And the Irish were actually two blocks down, so that's about 400 men in this particular sector that they were down on. But they were doing okay. They were holding their own. But it was a case. Oh, don't need to see that. That's just a snapshot of one of the other games that I'm running right now. Right, so the final screenshot. There we go. you can do it, computer. Not. Anyway, while it's loading up, I'll just have a quick sip of my tea. All right. Oh, okay. Oh, the joys of podcasting. Everyone saw that I pressed the that wasn't my fault. Everyone saw me press the temp hour thing. It's just completely other map. Actually, which one is this? Let's have a quick look. All right. Okay. All right. So this was I think this was an open Saturday that I run, which we might have actually done a cast for. Maybe we didn't. Anyway, this boost level Battle of Leipzig engagement. So the French, you can see how good my computer is. It's still loading. The French were in and around Leipzig, and you had, if we can work it, this shouldn't be too difficult, computer. These are only little graphical blocks. Yeah, we had the Green Division, or these were the Russians. No, these were the Russians coming up from the south here, and as my computer kicks into gear, these were the Prussians coming in from this direction here. So that may be for another time. Well, let's go back and see the 10th. Come on, computer. Why couldn't press on that before? Right. 10th hour. Right, you're seeing me pressing 10th hour. Don't mess me around this time. Alright, no, this looks good. Alright. Alright, so again. Here we go. So, things that happened in this final stage. Vikings that were back in Dublin recovered and were basically moving up to support Brodeer and the remains of his force up here. As you can see, both forces have kind of just destroyed each other in this area, and now Brodeer and Maelmore are basically cleaning up in this area because Domhnall had gone to get Murchad and basically just tell him that the south is lost, and we can't stand anymore. So that they are off running. The Vikings here defeated the very gallant and brave Irish warriors at the ford, and now we're moving up to see if they could get to some more Irish. There was a stand here of the Irish Viking Huscarls. Some of them got forced into this fort here and were perished. And yeah, this was the last one here. Cadulic was holding with them as well, but he would probably move out of there as well. So, and as you can see, whatever was left of the Irish force was travelling back to the west. So I think the Vikings in this particular battle, in this particular game, lost about 1,500 men. The Irish lost about 3,000 men. And I think historically, out of the 7,000 Vikings that fought, 6,000 perished. And of the 5,000 Irish, 4,000 perished. So, yeah, Viking age battles were bloody affairs, basically. This one wasn't quite as bloody, but anyway. So thoughts on this game? This is me trying to Kriegspiel, Dark Age, Viking Age, the Viking Age period. I think there are some issues, again, like I said, about visibility, knowing which troops were yours. I'm not 100% sure whether I need to do anything too much about that, because I would well imagine fighting in this period there would be some confusion about which troops were yours and which troops were the enemies. The only way you would possibly know at a glance, if you were in the midst of battle, would be to see banners. So with that in mind, I created some pretty basic tokens here, which I would class as banners, different colours for different leaders on the battlefield. So these would be the Irish ones, these were Vikings, and if I get around to going to England during this period, these would be the Saxon ones as well. And I would just place these wherever there was 1,000 men, and then if a player asked me what he could see, well, I could see you could see 2 or 3 banners to your north, your banners to the north, and 1 to your south, and this kind of thing, and that would be the way that they would understand where their troops were. These were some little tokens that I'd made. Again, you've seen these shields. These were broken shields. These were little damage markers here, little Vikings laying on the floor, and then I made some little horsemen here. Again, quite difficult to see them, and these were just for like dispatches, essentially, and scouts. And then these are the disruption tokens. My games tend to revolve around disruption, cohesion, and that's essentially how you defeat the enemy. You lower their cohesion down by so much that they break, and then you can chase them off the battlefield if you can catch them. So that was my version of the Battle of Clontarf. Again, I think everyone kind of enjoyed it, but there was just a few technical things that I needed to tidy up with. So I'd like to thank all of the players that participated in this particular battle. They definitely highlighted some things that needed to be adjusted, it's an interesting period, and it's going to be interesting to see if I can make it Kriegspiel. So that's that. So beyond that, I'm running another Dark Age Island campaign at the moment. It's kind of more of like a board game / Kriegspiel game at the moment. So it's called the High Kings of Ireland. So I may talk about that. As regards to the IKS at the moment, I think things are going very well. What are we on? 3,420 members right now. So that's pretty amazing. Since we started this niche group back in, when was Marshall doing this? 2020? Maybe the IKS was early 2021, but we were kind of getting together online in 2020. So there's been a lot of talented people involved in bringing this society together. A lot of talented people. So I think it's great. It's a great society. If you're not part of the society, but you're listening to this and watching the pictures, first of all, don't take what I've just shown you as how things normally are. They're normally a lot more polished and professional than what I've just shown you, but I do recommend you get involved. So without anything else to say, I will wish you all a good day, a good week, good month, and whatever is left of the year. I don't think I'll be doing another one of these this year, so I wish you a happy Christmas, and yeah, I'll see you. No, I won't. Maybe one of the other guys, like Umpire James or Marshall, will be seeing you on the next episode of Coffee Kegs and Kriegspiel. And I thank you, and I'm out.